Oakland District 3 Councilmember Lynette Gibson McElhaney on Facebook asked the question, is Oakland better today or was it better during the 70s, the 80s, or the 90s? She kind of leaped forward. She kind of leaped over the first decade of the 21st century, but whatever. And for me, I've been in Oakland since 1974, specifically April 8th. And that's a complex question. But my answer is that there are aspects of Oakland that are much better today than they were yesterday, but the main driver of change has been our demographics. In 1994, I wrote a column, one of a number for the Montclarian. I was a columnist for them, my first job in media, and I openly explained that Oakland's missing ingredient was market rate housing downtown and a well-money group of people who were white. And I said that because I said it publicly what others were saying behind closed doors, that downtown Oakland in particular had a large poor population, mostly black, and well-money blacks were in the hills or they were leaving Oakland even during that time. But we had a diversity problem in that we didn't have enough well-moneyed white people living downtown. We certainly had them in the hills, but that was a form of escape. We didn't have that mix of people, some rich, some poor, some white, some black, some Asian, some Hispanic, that made the city healthier, that ensured people were going to buy in Oakland because there were retail establishments in Oakland. At the time, companies like Benetton were leapfrogging over Oakland or giving us excuses why they didn't want to relocate to Oakland or put a retail establishment in Oakland because of, quote, our demographics, unquote. That was what was put in a letter that California Capital Group Director Phil Tagami and I both got when we were trying to get him the Rotunda project in 1997. But now we're there, okay? We have that. But what we didn't do, okay, was maintain an affordable housing fund, and we didn't maintain a constant growth in businesses that were ran by and employed black people like myself. And I know that sounds cold to some people to say that, or racist. It's not racist. It is race conscious. And I think a lot of problems would be solved if we paid a lot more attention to being race conscious and didn't fear, although the good news is we fear less at having conversations that are race conscious. But the bottom line is, look, that's the way, even if we don't want to say that we look at things, we do. And the problem has been that we didn't stop and say, hey, look, we're going to let the California government take redevelopment away from us. That fueled our affordable housing fund. So what are we going to do in maintaining our once demographically and economically vibrant economy? Now it's economically vibrant for some, but we've got a homeless crisis that is out of this world, unlike anything we've seen before in Oakland. We can solve the problem, but what's happened is that since 2011, when redevelopment went away, we have just forgotten how to do it, if we ever really had the desire to do it. And many of the people who are being pushed toward homelessness are not just black or Asian or Hispanic, they're also white. And the people who have the money are mostly in Oakland white. So we built that economy. And we have to take responsibility for the fact that we built that economy. Politicians, not necessarily Annette herself, but Alameda County Supervisor Keith Carson and others, who's a friend of mine. But Keith did pay a lot of attention to something called the jobs housing balance, but didn't stop to ask the question, if we want to maintain a jobs housing balance in Oakland, don't we need more businesses that employ people of color. Instead, he and other political figures were saying we need biotech, but never stopped to deal with the fact that biotech firms were not employing people of color, either for reasons of training or maybe just culture, whatever. The bottom line is it wasn't happening, and today it still isn't happening at the rate that it needs to. It's a large problem. So we didn't stop to really address policies to mitigate that possible occurrence. We have forgotten how to do large-scale planning in Oakland. We used to do it, but now it's piecemeal, as evidenced by the Raiders A's issue, among others. But that's another discussion. So my answer to Lynette's question is the Oakland of today is the Oakland we wanted, but it doesn't have the social safety net and the engine that fueled the maintenance of the cultural economy, cultural economic development, that we need to make it 100% better today than it was yesterday. That's the problem. So as a result, you have a number of people being pushed out, many of them of color, and that's our own fault. We need to restore cultural economic development. We really never focused on it as that, but that's what we had.